Sparking Change for Harmonious Living is a TV show that inspires action. It motivates you to start a journey towards a more balanced, fulfilling life. This show explores well-being through spirituality, mental clarity, and physical health. It covers topics like mindfulness, nutrition, fitness, and spirituality, giving you practical advice to enhance your life. Tune in for a transformative adventure that ignites the change you seek.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I am your host, Giovanna Tartarone.
And I'm your co-host, Ahmed Bahman.
Welcome, Ahmed. And today we're going to be talking about holistic health connection. You know, it's not just about feeding our body, but it's really also about feeding our mind and our soul as well. So, Ahmed, let's talk about that because I know, sometimes you do one more than the other, and having a good balance is extremely important. And let's talk about.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. It usually starts in the mind, right? Now, basically, nothing precedes thought. But then again, we're spiritual beings living a physical life, and in between, we choose to think whatever thoughts that we want to choose, and
Mhm.
it will dictate the feeling that we get. And the feeling that we get dictates the vibration that the body is going to be in. So sometimes, if we're very excited about something and we keep on holding happy thoughts,
Yes.
the emotions are more expressive. And as it's more expressive, that means the body now is operating at a higher
Yes.
vibratory rate. Now, on the
Mm.
on the counter to that, and if I'm thinking of some negative thoughts in a very prolonged state, then it will basically induce feelings of, sorrow, grief, anxiety,
Right.
anger. People can end up getting depressed. And what happens? It puts the body in a lower vibrational state. That means you're not going to be performing to the optimum the way you should. And when we talk about holistic health, healing takes place, as you said, on all levels, whether it's healing as a spiritual essence, whether it's healing as a mental essence, or healing in the physical sense.
Right.
So, as our late mentor Bob always used to say, he said everything has to move from spirit to form. So if we are deficient in any of these three key areas,
Right.
we can't live a complete life.
Is that why we struggle against things that we want?
Well, the thing is that if I'm not in tune with my spiritual side, I am deficient in that part or that area. If I'm not fulfilling my mental requirements, I remain deficient. And if I don't fulfill my physical requirements, again, I remain deficient. You see, as Wallace Waddle stated, he said, you cannot basically focus on one area in life and ignore the whole, because it all comes as a system. And he said it's very required that you
Mhm.
maintain a very harmonious balance between all three areas in order to live a complete life.
All right. So let's talk about going to each area. Right. So
Yes.
how can we? And let's start with the spiritual side. What are some of the things that we can do to feed the spiritual essence of ourselves?
Okay, the for the spiritual essence, basically, as I said earlier, we're spiritual beings living a physical life. So there are some people in the world, they're more spiritual than others, or they're more
Mm.
spiritually inclined, and there are those that, they're yet onto that journey of discovering who they really are.
Mm.
So, the first thing that comes to mind are two things. So actually, prayer is a way for those that
Mhm.
actually, are inclined spiritually. And on top of that, that works for both is, we have meditations. Now,
Yes.
meditations are very powerful. And the reason is that We are mainly being distracted by our environment. There is so much noise outside of us that we forget to quiet the noise inside. And this is where the jewel of understanding this
Hmm.
part comes through its application. I may talk about it, but the thing is, I want everybody to feel what I'm saying. And if
Yes.
somebody takes the time to pursue their spiritual aspirations genuinely, with a complete heart and surrender, they will reach the point of that silence where the mind gets calm and the heart gets calm, and you just feel the connection. Some people want to call it God the way I like to call it, but for others, you may call it whatever you wish. Some people want to call it, you know the
The
universe or any
universe.
other.
Yeah.
So, how whatever it works for you, just know that there is a power that's greater than you. We are a creation, right? We may be co-creating something along the line based on the spiritual inspirations that we received
Hmm.
as an intuition that we acted upon. But nevertheless, that power exists, and that power is nowhere else but within you. So tune into it in any shape or form. There are amazing instructions that you can find over the internet. There is not one way of doing things. There are plenty
Right.
of ways of connecting spiritually, and there's many different traditions as well.
And it doesn't, it stands alone where you don't have to be a certain religion
No,
to connect with your spiritual essence, right? and,
absolutely.
and I just want to get that clear, because some people say, well, do you have to be Catholic? And no, it's actually separate from religion, right? And we have to acknowledge that, because like you said, we're living in a world that's running on autopilot, right? And if we don't take the time for ourselves, which we do, when we, again, for the Catholics, we can connect that to prayer when we actually go in prayer. But to do it without needing to go to church and taking the time for yourself
Absolutely. And
is important.
the main key here is to learn how to practice surrender,
Mm.
complete surrender. That because there are things that I wish to happen in my life. Like a person may say that. But the question is, how can I surrender? I'm worried all the time. Well, if you're worried, you're basically going to produce more conditions and circumstances and events in your life that will cause you to maintain this emotion. Being in a state of worry is not going to get you anywhere. See, when you surrender, you are actually practicing faith in order to induce what? Belief. Belief is the name of this game.
Yes.
And believe, and your belief will create the fact. Facts change, but the truth remains the same. In every scripture, they always talk about belief.
Hmm.
It's not it's not you know if I would believe that something is true, I will end up seeing it based on the perception that I hold.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's our belief and our perception that creates our decisions. Um,
Absolutely.
so when we change our beliefs about something, we can make different decisions for sure.
Absolutely. As one time Bob was asked, because he was struggling in his younger years, and he said, I wasn't very smart. I wasn't always, in good shape. I always had a headache or a cold or something. And he said, I was always broke. He said, but things changed. He said, I thought that, in order to succeed in life, that I had to finish school and go to college. He said, he said, I barely finished high school. I think he was at eighth grade when he dropped out, and,
Yeah.
and he didn't have PhDs across his wall hanging there. He said, I kept searching for 9 years. Why did my life change while everybody else who were smarter than him were struggling in all areas of their life? So one day he came across another person who started talking about belief when they were discussing about what is belief system and how does the belief of a person change. And then this guy just blurted out, and he said, well, our belief system is based upon our evaluation of the situation or a thing. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
however, when we reevaluate the situation or thing, our
Mm-hmm.
belief about the situation will change. So the moral of the story is, whatever you are in life, whatever kind of struggle that you have, reevaluate that situation, but at the same time, reframe yourself in this entire picture. Your self-image comes into play now.
Beautiful.
Because your
Mm-hmm.
self-image also will control your self-esteem, which is how we feel about ourselves, in order to produce something else, which is our self-confidence, and that is how we carry ourselves. So
Beautiful. And go ahead. Go ahead. I think you want to say exactly what I was going to say. Go ahead. Continue.
the way you see yourself
Mm-hmm.
will dictate how you feel about yourself, and it
Mm-hmm.
will dictate how you show up for yourself.
Absolutely. And it starts with the mind. It
Yes.
starts with the mind. And the mind is not the brain. Let's make that clear, because a lot of people think the mind is the brain, and the mind is energy,
Yes.
and controlling that energy and the thoughts, you can control your life that way, because your thoughts can take you down a path that's very dark, or there's light, but you can't be on both at the same time. You have to choose one.
Yeah. and
So
and and go ahead.
I was just say, having healthy thoughts is just as crucial and important.
Absolutely. Another key area, like to elaborate a little more about the darkness and light. Well, darkness, it's has no different degrees to darkness. You can't make the dark darker, because darkness is nothing but an absence of what? Absence of light. Now you can measure light, right?
Mhm.
You may apply a certain heat to your life. Now, if you look at heat like hot and cold, it's basically the opposite of the same thing, which is temperature. But you
Mhm.
can't make the cold colder. Now remember, temperature is always measured in heat units, not cold units. We don't have that kind of tool yet. We didn't reach to that stage yet.
Yeah.
So, but there are certain degrees, and usually when it starts feeling cold, that means there is an absence of heat. You know, life is like that. So if you find there is something absent, you need to work toward the thing to fill it up. You know, like somebody wants to earn, let's say, good health. Now, the opportunity is there, but it's an absence of the person's decision to follow the steps that leads a person to good, harmonious health. I can give you all the tips you wish to have, but
Right.
if you're not going to follow the steps, you're not going to be healthy. Why is it that I'm giving you all this information and you still don't see any improvement? And this is something that you're very familiar with, Sister Giovanna, and it's the one word that Bob always repeated. It all has to do with your paradigm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what is a paradigm? It's a multitude of habits
Yes.
that, we at the subconscious level, that we run on autopilot. And until we change our paradigms, nothing changes, because of the experiences we had in life. It's like a tape recorder, right? We're programmed to and conditioned to believe certain things and to live on those beliefs, as you mentioned before. And if we want to see change, this is where change needs to occur. When we say holistic health, because it's holistic means it's pure, it's within us, right? That we can do it. It comes from something natural. So it's
Yes.
so important to have that. And let's talk about even, the body, right? When we say, oh, we want to go on a diet, let's talk about that because I know you're really good about that. Go ahead.
Well, the subconscious is a powerful tool. It's
Mm-hmm.
extremely powerful. But the question is, how should we approach it?
Mm-hmm.
A person may be like Bob always used to say. He said, if you want to lose weight, you keep telling yourself, I want to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. Well, what is your subconscious picking up? Weight, 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 right? So instead of losing, you're going to see, okay, either nothing's happening or you're putting
Yeah.
up a few more pounds. Now,
Yeah.
when I discussed earlier about self image, you know, the whole thing is if you're looking at the end result of things, right? You see the end result where you wish to be, like going through the form of diet, and the end result of it to be slim. So if you see yourself slim, you're not going to tell yourself, I'm going to lose weight
Mm-hmm.
anymore, right? So you need to focus on the objective, right? Now, how do we make the objective subjective to make it sink into the subconscious mind? Is when I change the phrase and say, I am slim, I am slim, the subconscious is listening to you when you repeat these words. Nothing can escape your subconscious if whatever is being in your environment or it's whatever that you're imagining. But in order to make the objective subjective, I need to get emotionally involved with the idea that I hold in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Consecutive way of thinking and then consecutive way of feeling will allow my body to move in that direction to form that habit of what it feels like for a slim person as a lifestyle. And automatically, I will notice myself change by changing my behavior. Now, if I would tell somebody, do you believe the things that I'm telling you? Consciously, they may tell me yes. But if they're not doing the work, that means the belief
Yeah.
has not reached the subconscious level yet.
Yes. And that's where we are changing the programs, because the subconscious is where the programs lie, right? So it's the work that we say that when we have to change out of beliefs, we're changing them at the subconscious level. And
Absolutely.
also we think in pictures, right? So when we say we're put a number to the how many pounds you want to lose, or you want to be slim, and you see that picture, it's you're working towards that,
Yes.
versus I'm on a diet and there's no picture,
Yeah.
because you see,
Because,
your subconscious mind just thinks, okay, I'm overweight.
yeah,
So it's also like tricking your mind in so many ways, and believing of what you want versus what you see, what you have.
absolutely. Because, we have a beautiful spiritual canvas. You
Mm,
people may not understand it, but the thing is that Bob always used to say that most people are lacking in two areas of their life. One is
lack of focus.
lack of attention,
uh,
and two is poverty of
Amen.
imagination.
Yes.
Now, Napoleon Hill stated in his book, I think it was in the Science of His Personal Achievement, and he said thoughts have the ability to project themselves into their physical equivalent. I like to rephrase it to thoughts that have been emotionalized have a tendency to project themselves
Mm,
into their physical equivalent. Now, this is very powerful. Napoleon Hill stated, he said, your imagination is the most miraculous, marvelous, inconceivable, powerful force the world has ever known.
Yeah.
Why is it? Because you're creating the thing or the reality that you wish to see from vision to sight. If you're holding that single idea, now when I said Bob said lack of
Mhm.
attention, is because there are people distracted. Now we got one screen on the mind, right? In order to
Mhm.
project that image into the universe and allowing it to come about as an experience in your life. Now, the moments that we're living are nothing more than experiences. Jim Rohn stated when he was asked, "What is life?" He said two things. He said, "Life's about experiences and the intensity of those experiences." Now, what is our job?
Mhm.
Is to focus, is to bring it into our attention
Right.
using the imagination in order to intensify the experiences that we desire in our life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why we have goals, and we define what our purpose is so that we can stay focused and
Yes.
not get lost. Because when we
Yeah.
do get lost, we lose that connection.
And as we have when I say we got one screen, that is all we have. Now, for a person that's distracted, it's basically they're thinking too many contradicting thoughts at the same time. Like if you would have we have these modern flat screen TVs that you can open a smaller screen in the corner, right? We call it
Picture
a
in
pit.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, picture in picture. So imagine a person has 10 of them on the screen of their mind. How in which direction are you asking your body and behavior to change and to move into conditioning yourself? This is what confusion is, actually.
And if I
This
may add to that, isn't that because those screens are either from the past
yes.
experiences or future thinking, which we have no idea if things will happen or not happen. We're just creating it ourselves.
Yes.
So we're living either in the past or in the future and not living the present.
Not living
And
in the present.
therefore, right? And therefore we find ourselves in a confused state
St- Absolutely.
and not
And
at peace, right?
absolutely. Because the conscious mind is perceptive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have the ability to perceive things that are may happen, you know, and then we also perceive things based on whatever we have experienced in the past. But the subconscious does not understand that. The
Mm-hmm.
subconscious just is. It takes everything in the moment. So if somebody wants to be healthy, if somebody wants to be slim, you need to imagine yourself that you already are. Act the part. You know, a lot of people say, okay, that means I should fake it till I make it. No, 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 no.
Or I'm
That's
lying
the
to myself. People go, but that's lying to myself. There's no way I'm going to lie to myself.
no. So what the whole thing is, don't use the term fake it till I make it. Use the term faith it till I make it.
Oh, I like that.
Because
I like that.
ultimately, if you hold in your vision that you see
Mm-hmm.
yourself healthy, you see yourself slim, close your eyes and feel what does it feel like? Like ask yourself this one question, as Neville Goddard used to state it. He said, "Now that my desire has been fulfilled, how do I feel?" Because feeling is the secret. It's the feeling that puts you on the frequency of the good that you desire. Now, Raymond Hollywell stated, he said, desire as well is an important key factor, plus expectation. He said, desire hooks you onto that frequency,
Yes.
but you must also expect that what you see is coming because you are that person who's rightfully there to receive it. He said, expectation reels it in.
And people know how to do this when it comes to things they really want. right? They want to go get a new car. They go to the car dealership. They sit in the car. They try it out. They're getting happy. And next thing you know, a week later, they're picking up the car.
Yes.
It works for everything else as well. We just need guidance on how to apply those same steps to other things we want in life.
The main thing, what I like to share with the audience, this stuff works. The law applies to every area of your life. If it can work for one thing, it can work for everything. Everybody who's hearing here, I'm sure there are plenty that have heard this over and over again from many different sources. The reason why that does not change because a person lacks self-discipline. Apply the information, and then you will see the power of this information to transform your life.
Absolutely. So we're going to take it to a close. This was very powerful, Matt. Thank you so much. Any
Most welcome.
last words?
Believe in what you wish to have, that it is already here. If it's not in physical form, then it is there in spiritual essence. And if it's available there for you to conceive it in the spiritual essence, all you got to do is believe it until the physical equivalent of it appears.
Beautiful. And this is how we thrive. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartaron.
And I'm your co-host, Ahmed Ahmed. Thank you, everyone.
Until next
See you
week.
next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change for Harmonious Living. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to